What's up everyone? Alex here. Welcome to part 1 of the first annual End of the Year Game of the Year Awards here on the Backlog Battle YouTube channel. The EOTYGOTY Awards have been going on for several years now on the Backlog Battle Podcast, available on iTunes, Spotify, Plex, Stitcher, and Google Play, by the way, and I wanted to bring a version of this award show to YouTube. For our inaugural awards, we're celebrating the EOTYGOTY in 2 parts. Part 2, which will be released New Year's Eve, will feature all the games that have made my Game of the Year list. This video, Part 1, will feature categories that me and my podcast co-host Daniel have made up to celebrate this occasion. The games considered for these categories cover any games I've talked about on YouTube, as well as spoken about on the podcast released in 2018. This ultimately leads up to the first ever Backlog Battle Community Choice Award, which is an award given to a game voted for by the Backlog Battle community. I've always wanted to give the community a voice whenever award season comes around, and I hope to see more of your votes in the future. Phew! Got all that? Great. Let's get the ball rolling for the End of the Year Game of the Year 2018. Most satisfying Yakuza Heat Move. Across the entire 7-game history of the Yakuza games, we've seen some really gnarly heat moves, but none as funny or as satisfying to me, or even perhaps its victims, as the essence of sadomasochism from Yakuza Kiwami 2. Featured as one of the available NPC assist heat actions, you can unlock this by completing a side quest from a certain dominatrix in Sotenbori. I always try to trigger this every opportunity I get, even going so far as to kite enemies for lengthy periods of time just so I can set them up for this heat move. Most satisfying animation. If you follow me on Twitter at @MyBacklogBattle, you probably have come across me retweeting a lengthy article talking about how much time it took Sony Santa Monica to perfect the feel of throwing and receiving Kratos' axe in a new God of War. It seems simple, but the small tweaks the devs have made to this often seen animation never felt old for me, and I somehow subconsciously feel that axe's impact on Kratos' hand every time he catches it. That says a lot. Biggest disappointment. With all the rage happening with Fallout 76 recently, I just felt that picking that game would have been too easy, and so I picked one that I would like us all to remember. Dissidia Final Fantasy NT. This game should have been a hit. The graphics were not only stellar, as expected for a Square Enix game, but the game was made by Koei Tecmo's Team Ninja. Given their work with the Dead or Alive series, surely this would have been a really good fighting game, right? The reality was that the game went far beyond fighting game conventions, that it made the game very difficult to understand. Nowadays, it's easy to find a game for $13 new. Such a disappointment. Most memorable moment. Imagine thinking about what you should be putting in this category, figuring out what it is, then realizing after you look through all the footage you've recorded of Monster Hunter World that you've never once recorded yourself fighting Nergigante, and you have to do that just for this video. A sense of dread quickly enveloped me as I fired up the game to capture the footage of myself trying to fell said beast, trying to remember everything I knew about my target. It's these feelings that makes fighting Nergigante such a huge moment for me in 2018. Best Story. The Ryuga Gotoku studio went nuts this year, releasing not 1, but 3 games. That said, which one did you think I'd pick? Yep, it's one of the 2 dad simulators released in April. Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. While Yakuza Kiwami 2's story was a retelling of one of the more beloved storylines in series history, and Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise story was, well, compromised by weird narrative decisions on where to place it in the manga's timeline, Yakuza 6 did the best job it could to wrap up Kiryu's story to the best of its ability. It's not perfect by any means, and frankly, I would have appreciated more time with series regulars. But the story they've told made me remember Kiryu's entire journey to that point, ultimately acknowledging that Kiryu had absolutely nothing more to prove by the end of the game. Arigato, Kiryu-san. Best Music. Tetris Effect. It shouldn't come as a surprise, given that I praised Tetris Effect's music in my review of the game, and I'm still playing it to this day. In fact, I've probably played Tetris Effect the most regularly out of any game that's come out this fall, and I don't foresee that changing anytime soon. Best Combat. I love nuanced mechanics in my combat, so while Yakuza is near and dear to my heart, God of War wins this category for me. I should probably point out that beyond the game's trailers, there's a few surprises here and there that expand the game's combat beyond what you start the game with, and swapping certain moves in lieu of another adds an interesting layer of experimentation to the combat that God of War never had before. Best of all, it tries to streamline things so that you don't have to memorize long combo strings. Mind you, I love games that have those long combos, but Devil May Cry 5 didn't come out this year, did it? Best Boss Fight. There have been a few boss fights I've played in the past that not only contained fun challenges to overcome, but also tried to tell stories in unique ways. The fight in Castrum Fluminis with Tsukuyomi in Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood was a blend of tragedy and symbolism, as the arena and the song that played were filled with hidden meaning. Top that off with an interlude that not only built up to the ultimate version of the boss, but also delivered some dramatic moments representing the victim's subconscious, and you have a fight that's charged with great moments and great storytelling. Now, for the rest of you, don't spoil the story. And we've arrived at the Backlog Battle Community Choice Award winner. The nominees for this award were selected by the members of the Backlog Battle Army Discord and presented to the larger Backlog Battle community for voting purposes. If you'd like to join our Discord, head on over to bit.ly/BBA Discord. The nominees for this year's Backlog Battle Community Choice Award are Dragon Quest XI, God of War, Monster Hunter World, Red Dead Redemption 2,
Nothing means more to me than this game.
Yakuza Kiwami 2, Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, and the Backlog Battle Community Choice Award goes to Yakuza Kiwami 2. Congratulations to Yakuza Kiwami 2 and the Ryuga Gotoku Studio, as well as Sega, for winning this award. And thanks for watching part 1 of the End of the Year Game of the Year 2018. If you like this video, you won't want to miss part 2. Please consider liking and sharing this video, and subscribing to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell icon so you'll be notified of my latest videos. Also, follow me on Twitter at MyBacklogBattle for the latest updates on upcoming videos, or to just chat about video games. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in part 2.